Returning to reality, Ivan is a young man who has been an orphan since childhood. He makes a living by pretending to be an exorcist to scam money from gullible people. Thanks to his eloquent speaking skills and his ability to fool the judges on a magic talent show, he naturally became a famous light wizard. From then on, Ivan's reputation spread, causing many people to seek his help, but there were also many who considered him a fraud. It wasn't until he accepted a request to treat a comatose little girl that Ivan began to doubt the very path he was taking. Childhood memories rushed back as Ivan recalled his time living in the orphanage, where he used to be bullied and locked up by the other children. In those dark days, the young boy Ivan could only manage to escape with a sewing needle, while also creating bizarre tricks to scare back those who bullied him. Since then, the needle became an inseparable object, and also the beginning of his path to becoming a fraudulent sorcerer, like he is at present. One day, as Ivan was preparing to continue his scam, a group of people suddenly came to visit. It turned out that he had previously fooled the wife of a wealthy tycoon, so now they wanted to verify how powerful his magic was. While running away, Ivan bumped into a muscular man and accidentally plunged into a water slide at the pool. Without understanding what happened, that slide sent him straight back to the Middle Ages. A white-haired old man suddenly appeared, causing Ivan to startle and react strongly. But as soon as he turned back around, the old man was still standing there as if completely unaffected. The old man called Ivan his grandson and said he had been waiting for him for 20 years. Thinking the other person was not normal, Ivan picked up a dry branch to threaten him, but unexpectedly the branch turned strangely green. He began to wonder if that slide had caused him to have his wires crossed. The old man continued to tap his staff on the ground, and immediately a dog's tail appeared behind Ivan. At this point, the fraudulent sorcerer completely believed that he was experiencing the impossible. Even so, the old man persistently called him grandson. When he saw the ancient castle towering on the mountaintop, Ivan finally realized that he had traveled to ancient times, and the man in front of him was his grandfather. 20 years ago, a brave warrior was pursued by enemies. Despite being alone, he was still able to defeat many opponents. But just as he turned away, a bird unexpectedly appeared from behind. It was actually an evil witch. She used her magic whip to make the warrior's sword weak, then proceeded to turn him into a stone statue. That brave warrior was the king of the kingdom, and also Ivan's father. To protect his grandson, the grandfather used magic to send Ivan to the modern world. Now that he had grown up, he called him back to shoulder the family's responsibilities. He handed Ivan a ring, but before he could say more, he was interrupted by an unexpected arrow and vanished. When the pursuing soldiers appeared, Ivan hurriedly used his familiar magic tricks to escape, but accidentally got caught in an obstacle and was taken back to the castle. The current king saw the ring and immediately recognized his identity, so he untied him and ordered the queen to treat him hospitably. However, no one expected that she was the very witch who had turned his father to stone, and Ivan was once again thrown into the dungeon. Here, he met Kashi, an immortal warrior whose body parts were sealed in the permafrost. Kashi revealed that to return to his original world, Ivan's only choice was to find the demon, slaying sword, the source of immortal power, and also the cause of the kingdom falling into chaos. Anyone who holds it along with the magical stone can rule the entire world, and only a royal descendant like Ivan has the ability to find that sword. Right at this moment, the guards escorted an old woman into the dungeon, but she showed absolutely no signs of worry or fear. In her pocket, she also brought along a toad. On the other side, the jailer was checking Ivan's wallet. He happily took the coin for his own pocket, while throwing the cash into the fire for warmth. Just then, the toad behind his back suddenly turned into a beautiful girl, who then secretly slipped a drug into his wine glass, making him let his guard down. The jailer was startled and tried to draw his weapon, but it was too late. Afterward, the toad girl used an axe to break the ice, freeing Kashi, while the old witch helped him reattach his body. Ivan was also rescued by them, but before they could leave, the guards heard the noise and rushed in. Kashi's arm was chopped off by a guard, but it was not affected and even crawled up on its own to defeat the opponent. On the other side, the beautiful toad girl was captured by the soldiers. Ivan saw this but was too hesitant, so he had to retreat. Unexpectedly, as soon as he reached the gate, he ran into the jailer. He quick-wittedly used his phone to take a picture and threatened that he had captured his soul, but as a result, the opponent snatched his dog tail away. After a period of chaos, the group finally escaped. The old witch took them into a small hut. After she finished an incantation, the hut suddenly grew 2 chicken legs. But as soon as it reached the city gate, it was stopped by the guards. The chicken was terrified and stood still, not daring to move. Seeing this, the witch scooped up hot coals and poured them onto its feet. Because it was too hot, the chicken immediately leaped over the city gate. When the queen heard the news, she was extremely furious. She turned into an owl to give chase. But before she could fly far, the witch magically threw a pot of boiling water straight at her head. making her lose the ability to continue the pursuit. The chicken ran for a whole day and night, finally escaping the pursuit. Ivan stepped out to breathe the fresh air. Meanwhile, the witch whistled to call a wooden tub over to travel more easily. She told Ivan to go into the hut to get some salt to prepare for cooking. It is unclear how he managed it, but he ended up making the whole hut catch fire. Witnessing this scene, the witch was extremely angry because all her magical treasures were inside, but the most pitiful was the rooster, which accidentally became a charred meal. She was so angry that she just wanted to deal with the troublemaker immediately. Fortunately, Kashi still needed Ivan's help to find the special sword, otherwise he would have been in major trouble. So the four of them set off together to find that sword. On the way, Ivan took the opportunity to take pictures of beautiful girls and bragged that he was keeping their souls. To cross the river of death, they needed the support of the Water King. Knowing he was fond of beauty, the toad girl sat by the stream brushing her hair to attract the Water King's attention. As soon as he saw the beauty, he was immediately captivated and approached. While he was infatuated, a shrimp spoke up to mock him, making him falter. Seeing this, the witch immediately transformed into a seductive girl, making even Ivan stare blankly. With his lustful nature, the Water King quickly fell into the trap, ignoring all warnings. Once completely attracted, the river god agreed to help them find the sword. However, because he could not stay on shore for long, the witch had to give him the wooden tub, while she had to struggle on foot. On the other side, the queen had arrived at the stream and used her whip to make the water boil violently. To keep his life, the shrimp was forced to reveal the group's direction, but was ultimately eliminated anyway. The queen then shot an arrow, causing a distant soldier to transform into her shape to deliver a message to the king. Meanwhile, Ivan's group entered the giant's cave. A white-haired old man appeared and continuously knocked each person back. If they continued, the whole group would be in great danger. The toad girl urged Ivan to step up and confront him because he was considered the hero in the prophecy. But in reality, he was just a boaster, so that was beyond his ability. Right at that moment, he realized the giant was actually a woman, and flirting happened to be his strong suit. Ivan turned on romantic music and held a bone pretending to be a singer. The giant was quickly swept away and mesmerized in that moment. The rest of the group took the opportunity to retreat, leaving behind the special audience, immersed in emotion. However, ahead of them was the river of death full of dangerous creatures. The Water King took on the task of clearing the path, but as soon as he entered the water, he ran into trouble and had to cry for help. It turned out he only had the title but no real power. The toad girl walked away sadly. At this point, her true identity was revealed. Vasilisa was originally a human, but because she opposed a forced marriage, her entire family was turned into toads. The witch helped her temporarily return to human form, but to completely break the curse, the special sword needed to be found. Knowing the story, Ivan immediately followed to comfort her. Right then, they spotted a suspicious rabbit in the bushes. Vasilisa immediately warned everyone. Sure enough, it was the queen in disguise. She appeared with an ice sword and prepared to attack, but Ivan timely protected Vasilisa. When they were about to retreat, the king's soldiers had surrounded them. With no other choice, the group jumped into a well. The witch used the wooden tub to block the mouth of the well, but could not hold out for long. The Water King discovered that the beauty was actually an old woman and was angry, but the urgent situation forced him to focus. He sucked all the water in the well into his body, turning into a fat pig and blocking the entrance, giving the group time to escape. The witch thanked him before leaving. Having some motivation inside, he became bolder, spitting water straight into the queen's face. Furious, she used her magic whip to turn the Water King into a stone statue. Unexpectedly, the swing was too strong, and the volume of water in his body could not withstand the pressure, directly blasting the queen far away. On the other side, Ivan's group had safely reached a cliff. Suddenly, rocks and dirt fell from above. Ivan immediately rushed over to pull Kashi out of danger, but he was not appreciative at all because he believed he was immortal. As soon as he finished speaking, a boulder fell down and crushed him flat, leaving a deep dent in his head. That night, Ivan showed off his flirting skills but slipped up and told Vasilisa to use her tongue to catch mosquitoes, making her leave in anger. He hurried after her and saw a toad by the road. Thinking it was Vasilisa transformed, he approached and confessed, "Whether you are a human or a toad, I will always love you." Hearing that, Vasilisa, standing behind, was moved to tears. Taking the opportunity, Ivan took out a necklace to give her and said it was a family treasure. But as the two were getting close, the toad next to them croaked loudly, ruining the mood. The next morning, as soon as Ivan woke up, he was ambushed by the king's soldiers. The rest were also quickly surrounded by the queen. She used her magic whip to subdue Kashi and threw him against a rock. Vasilisa tried to retreat but was knocked off the cliff. Fortunately, the necklace caught on a branch, saving her life. In the end, only Vasilisa escaped, while the others were taken to a place called the Sword Graveyard. Legend has it that only royal descendants can touch the demon-slaying sword, while ordinary people will not be able to withstand its power. Ivan was not sure if he was of royal lineage or not, so he was quite worried. He randomly picked up a sword to deceive the queen, but as soon as he raised it, it broke immediately. Realizing the unfavorable situation, he immediately tried to find a way to retreat, but could not escape her whip. In a critical moment, Ivan used a piece of wood to block the attack, and unexpectedly it turned into the legendary demon-slaying sword. The queen demanded that he hand over the sword, but was counterattacked by him, causing her outfit to be torn wide open. Even a large boulder was easily cut in half by this blade. Seeing that scene, the soldiers panicked and fled. Thanks to that, Ivan quickly rescued everyone. He handed the sword to Kashi and asked him to help him return home. Just then, the king appeared riding a horse. It turned out that Kashi and Ivan's uncle had a prior agreement. Not wanting to continue his immortal life, Kashi intended to exchange the sword for the stone containing his life. But the king went back on his word, offering a fake stone, while the real one was in the queen's hands. Vasilisa immediately rushed forward and tackled the king, helping Ivan regain the sword. However, he did not choose to fight, but used the sword to open a spatial portal to return to the modern world. This made Vasilisa angry, so she threw away the necklace, ending their romance. Even though he had returned to the present, Ivan still did not feel happy, because he always missed Vasilisa in his heart. He decided to find a way back to the past, but accidentally ended up in the police station for being suspected of trespassing in a restricted area. Ironically, his grandfather was also there for a similar reason. He said that the scepter could help travel between dimensions, but it was currently in the hands of the police. Ivan had to help them find a lost cat in exchange for the scepter. Before leaving, his grandfather gave him a bag of items and told him to rescue the dragon to confront the king. After that, Ivan returned to the Middle Ages and quickly found where the dragon was kept. Initially, its giant three-headed appearance scared him, but upon contact, he realized it was not as scary as imagined. Seeing that it was starved, Ivan removed its chains and fed it. The noise drew the guards over, and they took him away. On the other side, Vasilisa and the others were tied up by the king. In his hands were the demon-slaying sword and the magical stone, seemingly preparing for a dangerous ritual. Ivan was escorted in, but the king paid no attention. Feeling looked down upon, Ivan took out his weapon to threaten him and quickly defeated his uncle. However, the king suddenly stood up as if completely unaffected. It turned out that when the sword and the stone merged, it brought immortality. Right at that moment, a roar echoed. The three-headed dragon appeared and charged in to attack, but stumbled before the opponent's armor. The courtiers mocked it, making it angry and breathed fire, causing them to panic. The queen tried to counterattack but failed. Ivan took the opportunity to rescue Vasilisa and received a kiss from her. With added motivation, he decided to face the opponent directly. During the battle, the magical stone fell from the sword. Kashi quickly picked it up. If the stone was destroyed, both he and the king would meet their end. But just as he was about to act, the queen threw an axe, severing his arm. The king laughed triumphantly, but unexpectedly that arm could still move and threw the stone away. Kashi immediately destroyed it, causing both him and the king to vanish together. Seeing the unfavorable situation, the queen fled. Thanks to that, those who were petrified also returned to normal. Finally, the Water King took an apple to confess his love to the witch, while Ivan and Vasilisa became a happy couple until a new variable appeared. The film closes here.